welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are celebrating Christmas year round on this podcast. And today we are back talking about some of the classic Hallmark Christmas movies. And that we haven't covered too much on this show. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Thaddeaus is here.
Hey, y'all, I'm back again.
Yes, how you doing?
I am doing pretty well. I would really enjoyed getting a chance to look at some classic whimsical Christmas
movies. Yeah, that's what for this episode, we tried to pick 3 that have some Santa magic going on, because people that don't know Hallmark movies will say things like, oh, I bet you have tons of Santa and all this stuff. They'll say things like that. And we're like, you don't understand. We never get Santa anymore.
Yeah. Early on, we got a lot of it, but they kind of did away with it as they really got into the countdown to Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much just rom-coms that happen to be set at Christmas these days. And these 3 are all Santa forward, I would say.
Yes.
He's a character with multiple lines.
Yes.
So let's dive in. The first one we're going to talk about is from 2004, A Boyfriend for Christmas. This is one of the first Hallmark Christmas movies that ever got any kind of hype, at least, or I think it was just one of the first period that they ever did.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was before, the real countdown to Christmas started.
Way before, yeah.
I don't think there were too many actual movies that they released that year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's definitely, I can consider it a real classic. It still gets played every once in a while now. You see it played maybe once or twice during the Christmas season every year. So
yeah, and it's kind of a weird movie, so it's sort of funny that this is one of the ones that they started on. I mean, I enjoy it. I really like it. I like Kelly Williams a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, 2004 was when they were still playing Star Trek on Hallmark. I mean,
oh wow,
way back.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. It's got Kelly Williams, Patrick Muldoon. We have our friend Robert Pine back.
Yes.
Which he was in our last episode where we were talking about All I Want for Christmas.
I think he makes another appearance in today's podcast too.
Yeah. Yes. And on Christmas Day, Santa brings 2 lonely people together, but can love overcome deception? So basically, the 2 of the movies that we're talking about today involve writing letters and requesting love from Santa at a young age.
and it takes a while for him to grant that wish, but now that they're ready, Santa has not forgotten them, and he finally gets around to bringing them the love of their life.
Yeah, it's a long-term wish.
Yeah, exactly.
He says. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's why I'm still single. I never thought to ask Santa for the love of my life.
Well, I mean, maybe Santa knows that you wanted it and you're just not ready yet.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, Santa will give you the love.
Let me know what I need to do, Santa. I want to be ready. But so this movie, it starts out where she's a little girl and she wishes for a boyfriend for Christmas. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I noticed about all 3 of these movies is that there is hardly any fake snow in these movies. Yeah. The most in Matchmaker Santa, but even compared to what they do now, I mean, just nothing. Like in Boyfriend for Christmas and Naughty or Nice, it might as well be filmed in California.
Yeah.
But this was filmed in Utah, Boyfriend for Christmas, which is kind of fun. Yes.
Probably in the summertime, though.
Yes. Because there is just almost no snow. Like, did that stick out to you at all? Like, her house, there's very little decorations, and they're outdoor or indoor. And there's almost no fake snow.
Yeah. And it definitely did not seem too cold. They were outside playing.
No
football, and they weren't bundled up or anything. It was just, we're just outside. It's warm, we're comfortable, and so this is before before they came up with the rule that there had to be some snow of some kind. Yeah,
and all 3 of these are loaded with bad men in business.
Mm-hmm.
Business is evil.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, we can't do that. And even someone that's not necessarily a bad man, full on bad man of business gets that moniker. So
Right. Yeah. And he has to prove he's not a bad man of business in this one. Yes. So basically, she writes this letter, and she then becomes an attorney, and then Patrick Muldoon's also an attorney, and he's doing like pro bono work for this family.
yes.
And then he's late because of the
He's in a
meeting.
business meeting. He's in a
Business
bad business
meeting.
meeting.
Yeah.
So
And of course the scheming bad men of business are all trying to build condos.
yep, evil, can't have it.
But then so she's really upset because the kids are going to be taken away from their mother for Christmas because he's not there to advocate for them. And then or to be in the trial, and then he makes things right. So we know he's a good man of business.
Yeah, he just
He's a good
lost track of
person.
time, but then he felt really guilty, and he
Yes.
made it right. But she didn't know that he went and made it right.
Yeah. So. And much like the Christmas card, we have her dating this guy, Ted, which we're just going, why are you? I mean, I guess she kind of had broken up with him
at this point. Yeah, she had broken up with him, but her mother and her sister-in-law, Carol, were kind of trying to force her back into this relationship. And it kind of made sense for the sister-in-law because her brother was now working for him.
Yeah, and so she thought that if she could get her back with Ted, then it would help her husband, which is pretty skeevy to do.
Yeah, it's a little, it's not the best, but it actually gives a real motive. So it's a little bit more understandable. Like, why would you want her with this guy that she didn't really trust, that she really suspected was cheating on her, and kind of left her to go do his thing now. So it made a little bit more sense for the sister-in-law's motives. The mother, I guess she just wanted her daughter married. So she's like, you don't have to start all over. Go back to this guy that you were with before and give me some more grandbabies.
I mean, her dad was the best though. He was just like, leave her alone.
Yeah, and so was the brother. The brother was pretty chill about it. She was like, let's stay out of her business, let her do her thing. And that's true. The mother and the sister-in-law were like all about get back with Ted.
Yeah, so this guy Ryan, he talks to Santa Claus and basically agrees to be this gift for Melanie, I think is her name. Anyway, for Kelly Williams. Yeah. and so he agrees to be this gift for Holly, is her name. And so he delivers the Christmas tree and he's like, you wished for a boyfriend for Christmas. I am your boyfriend.
And she thinks that it's from her other friend that went to Tahoe because she said, you're going to get this amazing gift from me.
Right.
And so, so she's not as skeeved out at, when she first meets him. She quickly recovers.
I love that his name is Doug Furwood. That's hilarious.
Or the name he chooses for himself.
Yeah, fake name. I mean, Ted was just so terrible. Yeah. Over the top. I mean, and then he expects her to accept his marriage proposal and he puts like the ring on the corner of the thing, like, look at it and decide. I mean, why on earth would you want to be married to somebody who like has to debate? Do I really want I would want to marry someone who really wanted to marry me.
Who knows? I guess I think Carol like worked her magic on him. It was like, you have to marry Holly for some reason. We never really got much of of his perspective as far as like why he's so desperate to get her back now that he's back in town. It didn't really make much sense, but we just go with it. And plus we know that Ryan or alias Douglas Furwood is the right guy for her.
Right.
It doesn't really
Well,
matter.
and if anyone's listened to this podcast, one of my least favorite conflicts is, how dare you lie to me? Like, I just don't love that. I just think it's boring. And it's not my favorite here. But I don't know. I feel like, I guess I give it a little more excuses because it hadn't been done a billion times, and this is 2004. So
Yeah, this is an early one.
yeah.
You hadn't gotten the overload.
Yeah. Yes. And there's a lot of time spent with her family, with either
Yes.
Ted or Doug. I mean, Doug / Ryan. They play football, they have meals, a lot of family time.
They had that New Year's party.
Yeah, it goes into New Year's, which you also don't normally see.
Yeah. And it's like a lot of planning. It really starts with Christmas. Like, it's like the first maybe third of the movie, and then everything else is like planning for this New Year's Eve party that the mother is like crazy over. So.
And then you could make this a Winterfest movie pretty easily if you wanted. Yeah. So then they kiss in front of the fire and fall asleep next to each other.
Yes.
It's like, whoa. And then, of course, Ted comes in, and Doug has the croissants, and he sees.
So Doug left in the morning to go get croissants, and then Ted comes in, and he's like trying to win her back, and he kisses her, and Doug / Ryan comes in and sees the kiss.
Yes. And like, oh. No. And then I loved that little scene with Doug when he's doodling at the meeting, and he's got all the little hearts.
Yeah.
It was really cute to me. I'm a doodler, so that was endearing. And
I liked his character too. And I actually really liked them together. I thought they had pretty good chemistry.
I agree.
I bought them as a couple. It seemed like they kind of had similar like ambitions as far as like what they wanted to do. And or Ryan sees the error of his ways and leaves business behind. He's probably going to take that job that they had for like a staff attorney, making pennies, but he's probably saved and invested his money from being a bad man of business. So they'll be okay.
Yeah. So he's going to be doing like advocacy work and stuff like that. So, and then she asks him to New Year's. They kiss again. There's like 3 kisses in this movie, so that's exciting.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And good kisses too.
Yeah, they were. And then we also see her ice skating. I guess Kelly Williams must be like super good ice skater. I mean, why would they include that in just for no reason? Yeah,
they just added that she used to be like a competitive ice skater when she was younger.
Yes.
And they had the little ice skating scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good, actually.
It was pretty good. So then Ted, they have New Year's, and her sister her dress gets all messed up. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why you'd be wearing a white dress to New Year's.
As long as it's winter white, I guess it's okay.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like unless it's a what do they call it? The not Mardi Gras. We just had it in a summer. I feel pretty. I can think of the name. The debut, the debutante ball. Okay, you're supposed to wear white. Weddings, you're supposed to wear white. I wouldn't wear white any other place, I don't think. Not full white, but that's just me. But yeah, especially if you have kids running around, do not wear anything white.
Yeah, that probably wasn't the wisest decision. And she's the one with the kids anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then she loans her dress, and her sister's really thinking, which is, it's not a kidney, it's a dress. I thought that was a good line. So then Ted jumps and he exposes Doug.
So he had been following him around to try, because he does have his little background as a reporter. And actually the sister-in-law is the one that suggested that he do that to get the dirt to expose him so that they can get back together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so then he goes up and he proposes again, which if she hadn't accepted your first proposal, why would she accept your public proposal? And uh, I don't even understand why he wants to marry her if she's obviously interested in this other person.
Yeah, who knows? I
It's
mean,
very weird.
I guess he's okay with being a consolation prize.
I guess so. I guess so. And she says no, and then meets up with Ryan. And they figure out that because the beginning of the movie, they show her helping his sister with Santa and not being scared.
Right,
And
exactly.
so then they figure out that that they knew each other when they were little.
Right. They had that meeting, and they looked at each other with some interest as preteens, and you know, and they immediately, like, when they see each other, there's like something familiar, but they can't put their finger on it until kind of later on in the movie. And it's they realize that they were destined to be together. So
And yeah, she says, I always wished I'd meet the right guy and he'd set my heart on fire, but I never thought he'd be my Christmas present.
yeah.
Yeah. So then they kiss and then watch the New Year's fireworks. So what do you think overall? What would you give this score? How many crowns would you give this one?
So I really enjoy this movie. Like I said, I really enjoy both the characters. I enjoy the chemistry. I I like that. I mean, there's definitely some things in this movie that you wouldn't see now, like the scheming sister-in-law.
Yeah.
And, I felt like they just kind of went for, like, it was a little campy and over the top at times, but not like too bad. So I'm actually going to give this a pretty high score. I'm going to give it 4.5 crowns.
Yeah, I mean, there are parts of it that feel a little weird with people like giving humans and like some of these like, and I don't love the liar reveal. It's not that bad here. I'm gonna give it kind of a pass, but I think I'll give it 4.25, just a little bit lower. But it's solid. It's a good movie and definitely a classic.
I agree. Yeah. That's why it's endured somehow, for nearly 20 years. It still gets shown every once in a while. So.
Yes.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast. My name is BJ.
And my name is Me Too, and we promise this promo is worth it, so please don't skip ahead.
We're two judgy friends who put our judgmental skills to work for you. We review the pilot episodes of new and popular shows, and shows that our listeners request to answer your question, should I watch this?
Look, a lot of us are spending a lot more time at home, and yes, we should be reading and trying new projects and enriching ourselves, but does anything beat binging a great show?
Let us take the guesswork out of deciding what your next show will be. Tune in to The Pilot Podcast at thepilotpodcast.com.
We're moving up to 2011, and it's Naughty or Nice is what we're talking about. And it's a down on her luck advertising executive becomes the custodian of Santa's famous Naughty or Nice list. And not only is she a down on her luck advertising executive, but she's also named Chrissy Kringle, which is fun.
Yes.
So people send her all of she gets sent all of the letters to Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things about this movie is that it's one of the only ones I can think of that the couple is existing.
Yeah.
From the start of the movie
together.
Yeah.
And they really don't show him that much, to be honest.
No. He's not that much, but yeah, they have an existing relationship. They've been in a relationship for, I think, did she say 6 years?
Yes, 6 years.
6 years. So that's a long time. And I guess they had like a little break.
Yes.
Where he I guess cheated on her. We see that later. But they weren't really together at that point. So
he thought that she had dumped him.
Yeah.
But apparently she just wanted a break to go find herself. And so he was like kind of devastated and drowned in sorrows by hooking up with her like coworker.
Yeah. So it starts out the beginning with this mother who runs into her, and the mom says to the little boy, you don't want to get on the naughty list, and then the mom's talking to her, and it's like sometimes we need the naughty list. Don't judge me.
Right.
Basically.
Because Hillary Burton's character says, does that really work in earshot of the kid? And the mother just kind of gets really frazzled and yells at her like, all the issues that she has with being a parent, and that the one trump card they have is the naughty and nice list, and the kids will behave because they know that they don't want to get on the naughty list, and so the list works. I have to say,
she says, parenting is all your nightmares combined. The naughty or nice list still works, and the world is a better place because of it.
Yeah. So I have to say, like, I did not really love the first third of this movie, like the little intro setup. I felt like the dialogue was kind of cringy, a lot of and the acting of like some of the little walk-on characters the line reading wasn't really the best. And even like, and that I'm not enjoying it that much when I'm like nitpicking about little things. So like I noticed like the letters that she got, they just had Chrissy Kringle, Candy Cane Lane, and they didn't have like an actual street address. They didn't have a zip code,
or even stamps sometimes.
Yeah, some of them had stamps, some of them didn't, and so I was like, okay, so I was not really a big fan of like the introduction.
Well, and it's tough because she is kind of unlikable to begin with.
Well, the thing is, for me, I was kind of on her side because I'm like, these people are just too much.
And her neighbor.
I would be kind of grumpy, and then like the parents pressuring her to like to get married, and it was, and everybody expecting her to be super into Christmas because her name is Kringle, and shaming her for not having the outside of her house decorated and everything. It was just a little too much for me. So I was
a lot,
enjoying it. And so I was kind of on her side. I was like, I'd be grumpy too. And I would have, and even if I had been maybe slightly inclined to do a little outside decorating, I probably would have not decorated out of protest as well, because these people were a little too annoying.
Yeah. You think, and then they try to make it this warm-hearted thing, and I don't know if that really felt genuine. Because you have this lady who's stealing all their stuff and kind of ruin it all, the neighbor. Right. But they are very forgiving of her. Very forgiving. But another movie where there is no fake snow at all.
Exactly.
I mean, is this supposed to be in California?
I was trying to see, and I think it's supposed to take place in like Michigan or something. I think
they have.
I was looking at some of the what was it, like the license plates, and I actually back, like I said, when I was nitpicking and trying to like look at these letters, like it didn't have a city, state, or like zip code or anything, so I was trying to see if they had that, but I think I saw something that said Michigan, which there should definitely be snow if they're in Michigan in this thing.
Yeah, for sure. So she gets the Naughty and Nice book in the mail,
and it picks up from here. This is when I started to enjoy.
Yeah, it does. It picks up. I agree. And the whole concept is fun of being able to have the Naughty and Nice book, but also to be able to kind of the temptation of being able to see into the secret sins, basically, of all the people around you, and be able to kind of know what they've done wrong. That would be tempting.
Right. And so when the next day she got fired from her job as the ad exec, she gets a temporary job as an elf at the local mall, and she meets the guy that's like in charge, who is the grandson of a big donor or something. And
Justin.
Yes, Justin, who for whatever reason decides to speak with an Australian accent. And we meet Marco, who is like her, who is the other elf that works alongside her. I have to say, I found it refreshing that like the BFF was a male character, a straight male character, that she had a completely platonic relationship.
Yeah, I agree. And I loved Marco. I thought he was really good. Gabriel Tigerman is the name, and he was very funny. I thought he had some definitely good lines.
And good comedic timing. I think that they had pretty good like friendship chemistry together. So I feel like she spent more time with him than anybody. He got probably the one with the second highest amount of screen time throughout the movie.
I mean, they also have a Family Ties reunion in here with Michael Gross and Meredith Baxter.
Oh yes. And those are his parents. Yeah,
those are her parents.
Her parents. I'm sorry.
And I could have used more of them.
Yeah,
I could always use more Michael Gross.
Yeah, they're both pretty great here.
Yeah. They're not in that
I think
much.
that they do better with like I said, I feel like the script at the beginning was not that great, but they kind of elevated it, and then after it picks up, I definitely like enjoyed them as well going through.
Well, like I said, I also just think it presents a interesting moral problem of like if you could find out, especially when you're upset, when you're angry, like if you could find out about the people in your life, their worst, would you find out? Would you want to know?
Okay, and she definitely gives into the temptation.
Yeah, she does.
So first with Justin, she finds out that he's been stealing the petty cash that they've been getting that they're supposed to use for meals for the employees. And so, and she blackmails him, says that if he doesn't get that money back, that she is going to, tell his grandmother, and he'll be cut off. And so, of course, he acquiesces. Then when they are at lunch, she and Marco see her old boss and her who she thought was her friend and mentor at the job, who kind of looked down their noses on her. And so she looks up, I think her name was Darcy, which she was doing, and found out that Darcy was the one that kind of cost her her job by like taking credit for a lot of her ideas, and actually lied and told the boss that Hilary Burton's character had been flirting with her husband, and all these things. So of course, now that she knows this, she wants to make that right.
Yeah, the only thing about this Naughty Nice book is that I would think that the book would have to be kind of rebooted every year, because don't you change if you're on the naughty or nice list? Like you get a year to change and improve.
It seems like the book is both, and depending on which side you look at, you can look at the naughty side and the nice side for each person. It
just seemed like what Lance had done was many years previous.
Oh yes, I see what you're saying.
And so as opposed to like, because that's what made her think when she saw it, she's like, oh, this happened this year. He's been cheating on me this year.
Okay. And it seemed like for everybody else, it was more recent. But I guess Lance had been so perfect that that was the only naughty thing that the naughtiness had for him.
Yeah, and so she flips out on Lance, goes to the business meeting and pours pasta all over his head. I mean, he's lucky that it was somehow sauceless pasta. So he didn't get any white or red sauce on it. But it was funny, I thought.
Yeah, that scene was pretty great. And of course he's, upset, and she goes and finds out from her parents that, during the time that she had gone off to find herself, and he had thought that she had broken up, he was calling every day, talking about trying to figure out how he could get her back, because he really thought that she had broken up with him.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like certainly in the Bill Abbott era of Hallmark, it might be changing, but you never really had cheating actually being discussed, almost never. No. There was just, oh, you're a bad man of business, you're cheating on me with business. But like in both of these movies that we've just talked about, they have actual like cheating as either they think they're cheating, or they are cheating, or they have cheated. Like that's just not really something that you see in recent Hallmark. Yeah. I did think it was a really funny line when she's talking to Marco and he says that not Santa Claus watching us because I was raised Catholic.
Right.
That was a funny line.
That was.
God is watching us, not Santa Claus. So then, she figures out that Jill is like coffee buddies with the boss, Helen, their old boss, that Jill stole her promotion, and that Jill is basically on double payroll, as she finds out.
Right.
So she's able to kind of bring her down, I guess.
Yes, because her neighbor is the one that so the neighbor knows that the neighbor is the one that works for this company that handles
like a payroll,
different companies, and so they go to her and they are able to get the proof that she's on the opposing company's payroll.
Yeah, and so Debbie says, so she gets exposed as taking some of the decoration from the neighbors. She doesn't use it on hers. She just puts it in the storage shed so that she has better decoration. And she only wins by 1 vote over Chrissy's. And they let her off very easily for doing this. And she says, I meant no harm. That's not true. You didn't mean harm. You wanted to hurt their decorations so that she could win.
Yeah. I mean, she stole people's property, you know.
She did.
I mean, it's I get what they were trying to do while showing that people have both good and bad sides, but just because you do something good doesn't completely absolve you of the bad things that you do. So, I mean, and they should still, face consequences for that. And she did, because she did end up losing. She did not end up winning the little contest, which seemed to mean a whole lot to her.
Yeah.
But they were able to, they were able to mend fences, and she makes up for it by helping to expose her former co-worker so that Hillary Burton's character is able to get her job back, actually get, I believe, a promotion and a raise. And,
they hold a whole surprise party for Debbie. It's a big
to show their appreciation. I mean, for being a good neighbor or something, except for when she steals people's property.
Right. And I forget who it was that I was talking with. It was a writer friend, and they were talking about what a plot line that they wanted to do, where they were going to have a character, I think, steal something, and Hallmark said that they couldn't allow it, that you cannot have Hallmark heroines who break the law.
Oh, that's I remember that. I remember who it was too.
Yeah.
And Hallmark heroines can't do anything illegal, but maybe a bad neighbor can do something illegal.
Maybe.
Not a heroine. But you can, if you are in a mystery movie, you can break into people's houses,
right?
Violate crime scenes,
ignore the police. I don't think that nowadays they would ever have scenes like the pasta. No, it's too much for modern Hallmark. I thought it was funny.
I think Hallmark is kind of, it seems like they're coming back to a little bit. So, and they're pushing comedy a little bit more in some of the movies. So you might see every once in a while,
something like that. But so then Helen, it turns out the boss, she throws parties for, and she helps underprivileged kids.
Yes.
And she says, Chrissy says, I thought she was an ice queen.
Right.
So that was a good moment.
And showing that she wasn't an ice queen.
Yeah. And then they get Santa comes for the kids, and that's when Justin redeems himself. He makes it happen.
Yeah.
And Santa wants the book back.
Right.
and then let's see here. So she considering getting a new last name. And then she says that everyone makes mistakes. It's how we respond to them that matters.
Yeah.
And Lance then proposes. You get a pretty big kiss.
Yes. Yeah, they did it. That was pretty good.
And then the whole neighborhood is there. Parents are there. And she says, "Well, maybe I'll hyphen the name."
Yeah, she's willing to accept. Now, I really, really wish that they would have closed that gap and made it so that they were like distantly related to Santa Claus. You know?
I agree. That would have been a fun kind of little winking thing. Yeah.
And that's how she was able to like get the book and see it, because of her relation to Santa Claus.
Yeah. You could have just had like Michael Gross and the Santa talking and it being a little like wink, wink, not, elbow, or just like, it wouldn't even have to be a long scene, just like a little knowledge. Oh, they know each other. Yeah,
I agree.
That would have been good. Well, what do you give this one? How many crowns?
So I'm going to give it 3.5 crowns. And what brought it down, like I said, I really did not like the opening sequence of the movie. But once they got into like the actual like naughty and nice list, it really picked up for me and I really started to enjoy it. So I'll give it a 3.5 overall.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Last one we're going to talk about is Matchmaker Santa.
What's your score for it?
Oh yeah, I agree. 3.5. Yeah, I agree. 3.5. So last one we're going to talk about is Matchmaker Santa. And this was for 2012.
Yes.
And this is, I think, a very good example of a movie that's Hallmark or horror. Like, just change a few things around, and this is like a horror movie.
And this is Lacey Chabert's first
Christmas movie. Yeah. And I really enjoy it. I think it's very sweet. Yeah. But it's also a movie about a little girl who writes to Santa asking for true love.
Yes. And she doesn't get it, for a long time. Maybe she thinks that, the guy that she's with at the beginning might be it, but she doesn't really seem very happy in that relationship.
Yeah, she's with this guy named Justin.
Yes.
And Justin has an employee named Dean.
Yes.
And they've worked together for a long time. Dean's basically the assistant. He makes everything work. Justin is the CEO.
Yeah, the newly appointed CEO of the company. He's really trying to inspire confidence in the board of directors in him. So.
Yes. And so he's a workaholic. He's kind of a bad man of business, but only in the sense of that he works so much and he ignores Lacey. Mel, I think is her name in this, Melanie. But they have him end up with another person, so he's still worthy of love. He's not that bad.
Yes, and it's just that they weren't right for each other. And the thing is, Lacey's character is kind of a workaholic too.
That's true.
She is burning the midnight oil at her little bakery, and then she's coming in really early in the morning all the time. So she's definitely needs to get her work-life balance together too. Seems like it's a little better than her than Justin's, but she also seems to be a little bit of a workaholic.
What do you think of the chemistry between Adam Mayfield and Lacey?
It was fine.
Yeah, I agree.
We've definitely seen her have much better chemistry with a couple others, like what is this? What is that? What are their names? Like in what's the dance movie she was in?
Well, with Will Kemp.
Yes, Will Kemp,
Christmas
and
Walks.
with Brendan Elliott. I think she's had really great chemistry with them. She's had, and this is fine. It serves the plot well enough. So,
I agree. I don't think the connection was super strong with him. I like the idea of him just kind of being this assistant and sort of looking longingly at her, and kind of seeing this whole life that he wants to have, but he doesn't want to take the girl of his friend and boss. That was a good dynamic, but I wasn't like super feeling the chemistry between the two of them.
I was like, it's not to the point where it's distracting me that I'm like, these two shouldn't be together, but it's not like, but I'm not like going through the movie like, oh, they need to get together either. It's just like, okay, I see, I'm along for the ride.
And I don't think Hallmark's ever used him again.
No, he hasn't been back.
I don't think so. It's nice when they try out people. You just get some new faces. I mean, I love the standards. But
he's fine.
Also,
I mean, if they brought him back for something else, it would be fine.
Just maybe not with Lacey. So we also find out she's basically working all the way up through Christmas, and then Justin just kind of assumes that she will go to Christmas with him. He also assumes that Dean will go, and he's like, I was planning on going with my family. So Justin can be pretty inconsiderate.
And the thing is that he kind of spins it as if he is going to be taking her so that she can meet his mother, and that's kind of part of it, but the real reason is that he wants to impress the board of directors. So, again, kind of being a not great man of business. So,
right. Yeah, that's true.
One thing we have to point out, that something that would never happen in a modern Hallmark movie, is that the Santa, we see him when Dean picks up Mel to go to dinner, and he is ringing a bell, and he's collecting money for the needy, and they both walk past him and don't give him any money.
That's true.
I was like, these people in modern Hallmark, that is evil.
That is true.
What is going on? I was shocked.
Like the worst is in It's Christmas Carol, when it's the Scrooge character, she is like, get away from me. At least like this is Scrooge.
Yes,
that's true. That's a good point.
I was shocked. I was like, oh my goodness, these people are horrible.
So Justin hasn't told his mom that Melanie is coming. She doesn't, and that they're dating. I mean, it sounds like she knows a little bit about her, but that Justin doesn't even tell that they're coming to visit. And then you also see Robert Pine, who's like the head of the business.
He's the chairman of the board of directors.
And Santa works his magic and gives the poor man poison oak. And so then you have her on the plane, and she ends up sitting next to Santa. And she tells, and Santa tells her about the long-term wish.
Exactly. That's the theme for today. And so she wasn't ready for the love of her life until now. And so now, Santa knew this. And so that's why, it's taken him this long.
Well, and you can tell that this is pre-Balsam Hill days, because the big snooty response to using a fake tree.
Oh my goodness.
That used to be a Hallmark thing.
Can't abide it. But now they can't do that now, because Balsam Hill is all over the place. And he's
so you can't do that now, but it was definitely a thing back then. But Dean ends up picking Mel up from the airport, and Justin is busy with work, and then Blair, his high school girlfriend, ends up showing up. And she's definitely a weird character, because she's like presented as the other woman, the normally that would be a bad person because she's in conflict to our leading lady, but of course we want her to not be with Justin, we want her to be with Dean. So she's kind of like sort of in love with business and sort of dismissive of Melanie, but then like actually also a nice person and like nice to Justin. She was just kind of a weird character.
She was not like actively trying to like come between them, but she was, she made her interest known though. So, which I guess, it's fine because, because now if Melanie didn't have anyone else, but she's also falling for someone else at the same time. So I guess we're okay with that.
But she had the most cringy line when I think it was his mom asked, are you married? She says, no, I'm married to my career.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing, she's like she's a borderline ice woman of business, and so that's why, and a borderline bad man of business, they just go together.
Yeah. They match perfect. I'm married to my career. I laughed. We also have, so then they end up getting stuck in this town, and you have John Ratzenberg as the mechanic / mayor.
Yes.
He's taking a break from Pixar so they can be in this movie.
He was hilarious in this movie, like, sitting in the little shop and he's like sleeping.
Yeah, I think he lives
like,
there.
It'll be ready when it's ready. I gotta wait for this part. And, he was just so lackadaisical about this whole thing. And then all of a sudden we find out that he's the mayor. And then you have Florence Henderson and Lin Shaye as the so Florence Henderson's like the innkeeper and her friend, and they're like can't make cookies, and they think they were very funny, I have to say. So I actually really enjoyed the supporting cast for this movie. But Lin Shaye's like crush on the Dean character, that was she was
it was fun to see Lin Shaye in this because she's become kind of a horror person in the Insidious movies and things like that. So it was fun to see her in this light.
Well, the way you could see it, with the way she was like leering at Dean. That was a little scary. But
yes, and Florence Henderson, of course, was America's mom.
Yeah.
So that was perfect to have her in there, and Melanie ends up helping with the cookie sale and cookie making.
Yeah. And Santa gives her like the vanilla bean extract. That's like the secret ingredient for her cookies. I'm not sure how he knew. He gives Dean the little wood and the tools so that he can carve that, whatever it was he carved for Melanie.
Yeah, I think it was the Santa, I think. It was hard to see exactly what it was, but he carves for her, and he helps Mel with the cookies.
Yeah,
and it was really cute when they were both in the elf outfits.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really cute.
Santa had that emergency where the two elves missed out on the last minute, so he had to get to recruit them to be elves, and during this whole time. Justin is kind of sort of trying to get to Mel.
But then the bear.
But yes, Santa sends a bear. Then
so evidently Santa has like telekinetic powers.
Yes, he
can make a bear appear.
Yes, he can make a bear appear. He also has the ability to like teleport himself to different places, and
doesn't need Rudolph at all.
Yeah, and only when he's like carrying the sleigh, I guess, in his gifts. And then he comes when Justin and Blair decide to drive there. He comes and says that there's like a road blockage, so they have to turn around, and then they decide again, and then there's a snowstorm, so they just Santa's like no. Mel and Dean need time together, and y'all need time together. Yeah.
Well, and he's a construction worker, like you said, and so they can't get there, and so gives Dean and her more time. And he says, "I wasn't expecting any of this," and they have a really painful near kiss. That's so close, and
And then Lin Shaye's character announces the time for the tree lighting.
Yeah. So, I loved how he kind of like touched her face a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was just very like tender and sweet.
Yes.
I loved that. And then Blair and Justin get lost trying to follow the detour.
Yeah, because the Santa gave him bad directions, tried to get them lost on purpose so that they wouldn't get there, to give Dean and Mel that time and to give them that time together too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we find out that that Dean has quit is going to give his 2 weeks notice.
Yes.
And
he's going to open a little wood shop.
Yeah. And he saves a cookie for her. Because she said, I didn't even get to try any of the cookies. And he says, you're always missing out on the cookies. So he gives the cookie and he says, I'll keep it close to my heart. That was cute. That was cute. And then they kiss. Mm-hmm. And Blair wants to leave, but then it starts snowing.
Right.
And that seems to be a barrier. And
it just started snowing. But
yeah.
It's just unsafe to drive when it just starts snowing. I mean, it is a little slippery at first when it first starts snowing, but they could have done it. They'd be all right.
So then she calls up her friend and basically spills all the beans about Dean.
Yes.
And truth is not always popular, but it's the truth. And the truth is, I love you. What she says.
Yeah.
Yes. And so they end up with both of them, Blair and Justin and Dean and Melanie, and they're together. And so everybody's happy. Merry Christmas.
Yep. And so, that's the end. They, both go and say, look, I've fallen for somebody else. And I guess everybody's happy now. So
yeah, I guess so.
Merry Christmas. Matchmaker Santa matched up 2 couples that year. So, he did his work. And I guess they're both both couples will live happily ever after. And, all right.
I guess so. I'm trying to think which one I think has the better staying power. I mean, hopefully both of them will, but I think maybe actually Blair and Justin, since they both like have the same idea about work. I can see that being a conflict for Dean and Mel.
Yeah.
But there we go. What would you give this one, you think?
So I'm going to give this one 4 crowns. I really enjoyed it. I like this, kind of the secondary characters. I liked that it has 2 couples. I agree that I don't think either of the 2 couples had great chemistry.
Yeah.
So, it was fine both ways, but it wasn't great. So, that does take away from it a little bit. Mm-hmm. I do like that the magic in the Santa and everything. So it's pretty solid. I really enjoy it. So 4 crowns for me.
Yeah, I agree. 4 crowns. I think that's accurate. So let us know what you would give these 3 movies. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. And if you have any other classics, I really think 2012 should be our kind of cutoff point for this series. Do you agree?
Probably.
Yeah. Because it was after that it wasn't until 2015 that they started, I don't think, doing actual Countdown to Christmas, but I feel like 2012 and backward are what I would consider classics.
Right.
So let us know if you have any classics that you'd like us to talk about in future episodes. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure that you are following the podcast at Hallmark's Pod and Hallmark's Podcast over social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews 5 stars. It really helps us so much. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group and merch store. Check that out. It has tons of festive designs at the merch store, so please take a look. And we've got lots of perks for the patrons. And like Thaddeaus is one of our patrons, and we're so grateful. And thanks so much for doing this. And we'll talk to you all later. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas in July, everyone.
Bye.